Hi, my name is Cathy Hamilton. I'm the Director of the Office of Leadership and Service Learning at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. I would like to think that I am a perfect example of how a program like the Coleman Fellows or Fellowship Program is super in helping those of us who have heard about entrepreneurship, think it's a really great idea, and assumed that we had absolutely nothing to do with it in the education of students or even as part of a culture-changing movement on our campus. So when Diane Welsh came to me and talked to me about, Cathy, I'd really like for you to apply to be a Coleman Fellow, my response to her was pretty clear. I went, I'm not really sure why you're coming to me because I've never started a business, which gives you a really good clue about how narrow my understanding of entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial thinking was at the time. So she talked to me about the leadership studies courses that I had already been teaching here at UNCG and how the cross-disciplinary program in her mind was a vehicle by which all students would have an opportunity to think about innovative thinking, design thinking, entrepreneurial thinking. And so she convinced this person who was staff and faculty on campus that I too had a part to play in how our students would be truly changing the culture of UNCG by entrepreneurial thinking. So I totally renovated a course called Innovation in Entrepreneurship and Community Leadership, and it was cross-listed with entrepreneurship and educational leadership and cultural foundations that is primarily a graduate program here. So first of all, my premise in all leadership courses that I teach is that leadership is a socially constructed concept. We have changed what we view about leadership over time, and I want students to understand that it is our values, our cultural norms that have everything to do with what we think about as leadership. In particular, in this course, I want them to be thinking about community leadership. Who are those movers and shakers in our communities, and how are they doing it? In particular, with this course, how are they doing it through entrepreneurial enterprise? So I heavily, for the leadership studies, I have relied on the same theoretical context as I have in the past, but what I did was overlay what we view as community leadership with human-centered design, which was a protocol or a process for innovative thinking in action, for community change. It's used tremendously in international development and social enterprise, and I saw the possibility to use it right here in Greensboro with a refugee and immigrant population. So Greensboro has the wonderful, rich distinction of being a federally mandated refugee resettlement site. So I knew I had a tremendous opportunity to connect students to a global population with very distinct needs and very innovative ideas for social enterprise, entrepreneurial enterprise in our community. We use a service learning pedagogy, which is where you are engaged in service with the community to fulfill learning outcomes for the course. In UNCG, you have to be designated service learning, you absolutely have to have it connected to a course. You have meaningful service, academic content, and significant reflection that ties the academic content with your experience in the community. So it seemed ideal to me that our students would be working in the community with refugee entrepreneurs to learn about intercultural competency and community leadership. In the human-centered design, they're going to begin working with the refugee entrepreneurs to observe what is it that they're attempting to do. What is the innovative thinking involved with the product or service that they are offering to this community? They collect the stories. They learn to listen very deeply, to recognize, as I've now learned in entrepreneurial speaking, opportunity recognition. So what is innovative about this social enterprise, this entrepreneurial endeavor? What is possible within this community context They serve somewhat as cultural brokers for the new North Carolinians in our community. They move from the hearing to the creation of themes and opportunities. They understand what is the target audience, what is the market analysis for this particular population, product, and service. And then by the end of the class, we get to the prototype and the solutions. We do not in one semester get to the implementation phase. They are primarily working with recognition of innovation and their final opportunities, and their final project requires that they come up with a significant and feasible innovation to move that entrepreneur forward some incremental way. And a few of the learning objectives, this is also very much influenced by our global engagement quality enhancement plan on campus. It's very much wanting students to gain leadership, skill development and application, understand leadership theory, also interpersonal competency by engaging with people who have different backgrounds and perspectives than their own. So a few of the things that I ask, they need to understand entrepreneurship as change agency, as its importance with global and domestic unemployment and underemployment, and as a solution for that within the world, that they have an opportunity both to learn and apply their leadership skills. They identify leadership opportunities for the community entrepreneurs. This change the narrative, change the story of new North Carolinians as those who perhaps are a drain on our community. Rather than that, think of them as community leaders who are bringing new ideas, new concepts, and new businesses into our community. Evaluate effective innovation within their community entrepreneurs' product or service. So we work through that human-centered design, and there are a lot of examples within that. That comes from IDEO.org, and it walks them through how do they listen effectively to be able to analyze and think creatively, problem solve, some critical thinking with the community enterprise. And then finally, they are to propose an innovative entrepreneurial practice within the organizational context. I believe that the Coleman Fellowship, the development of this course, has broadened my understanding of what community leadership is in this community, and it's offered me an opportunity to have a fabulous moment to think differently about the way I teach innovation and entrepreneurship.